Can you shoot?
If I have to.
Oh, you'll have to.
Not quite the woman I expected.
You're everything I'd expect of a man.
You're no stranger to action either, Emily, but I'm curious, I mean, what's it like doing some of these scenes on horseback with a gun and you're in a corset?
I mean, they gave me one of those corsets that had a bit of stretch to it, thank God. I had a sort of elasticated corset. So the costume designer, Phoebe, was sort of took pity on me, knowing I'd be trying to, because I don't know if I would have been able to get on the horse. You know, I mean, I needed 3 men to get me onto the horse every time. And a step ladder. You know, it was just one of those, kind of like multi-person things to get me on the horse. But I mean, I love all the action. I've always enjoyed doing it. And I think what I loved about this character is that the action is born out of sort of instinct and a reaction. It's not cool. It's not strategized or pre-planned. She's so innocent, as such a fish out of water, that the action always made me laugh that she finds herself in. And even as the kind of body count mounts that she is responsible for, she's still a human being. She feels kind of guilt-ridden after most of the people she kind of kills. And I always found it very surprising, her very human reactions to violence.
You've played so many great, awesome, interesting, different characters in your career. What hooked you about the English, though?
I mean, I just found it to be, I was captivated by it from page one. It was so beautifully written. And I'd never read anything like it. It just felt singular. It was as violent as it was witty. It was achingly beautiful. And yet it moved like this chase thriller. I'd always wanted to do a Western. I'd never played in that sort of mythic story space of that genre. Wanted to very badly. So it was an instant yes for me.
You just mentioned wanting to play in the Western genre and be in that space. What was it about it? What was it about that? I mean, the Westerns, they just don't ever seem to go away.
Well, I don't know if they ever will. I mean, all those core themes that people love to cling to, you know, of revenge and loss and power and greed and that brutality of that landscape and that restoration of justice that you see its heroes kind of go through. I think that it's a big, rich world and it's a cool world. I mean, it's super cinematic and yeah, it's full of swagger. It's a world that's full of panache and swagger. So I've always loved it. I grew up watching them. So for me, it was a joy.
Yeah, cool. Gorgeous looking. The show is just so beautiful. I mean, I could just turn it off and just look at the cinematography in there as well. How did you think the English could sort of extend and take the genre kind of in a bit of a new direction in terms of representation, in terms of the characters that we get to see and interact with?
Sure. I mean, I think it was very, I think it's an important moment to have your male lead it is an ode to the Paul Newmans and the Clint Eastwoods. He just happens to be Native American and not too fine a point is made of that. So I think people have discussed with Chaske and I, you know, that this is a big groundbreaking moment. To Chaske, he just approached this as an actor with an incredibly juicy role and something that he could kind of tear into. But I think for him, it is an empowering moment for Native Americans who get to kind of be represented as a very nuanced, dexterously written character. And I think that this is a fresh take in general on the genre. I think it carves out new space for itself. It's modern. Even the way the characters speak to each other, the romance, the love story feels modern. It feels fresh. And I think that's what people are responding to. All of the history and the bloodshed that went on, that the country is built on, is sort of smuggled in. It's a chase thriller. It moves quickly. But if you want to be confronted by the reality of what the country was built on, I think you absolutely can absorb that within it too.
Before I let you go, you're in 2 of my all-time favorite movies, Sicario and Edge of Tomorrow. I've got to ask though, Edge of Tomorrow 2, is that ever going to happen or what?
Someone just said to me, are you going to do Edge of Yesterday? And I went, what's the Edge of Yesterday? And they said, oh, that's apparently the new title. I was like, well, I don't know that. So I don't know. I'm going to have to call Doug Liman about the Edge of Yesterday. Who knows? I would love to do it. If my back can take it. I don't know if my back and knees can take another one, but I'll just kind of send the bill to Tom for my chiropractor that I'll need every day after I do that second film.
What about The Fall Guy? What can you tell me about that? I loved that show as a kid.
It's
and
great,
I saw you're
right?
going to be in it.
Yes. So they've started filming. Ryan's already out there filming. I'll go out in a couple of weeks and join them. And I can't wait. I mean, it's this bonkers action adventure. It's so beautiful and fun. I can't wait to do it.
I'm good with a bow and arrow, too. Can strike a bullseye at 200 feet. In England, we call it toxophily. It's quite the fashion.
Maybe I should go.
Oh, no. Look what happened to Pocahontas.
Oh.